But if you're chronically on F1 Twitter, like me, you may have seen this term thrown around a little bit over the last couple of weeks since the sport went on its unplanned hiatus. If you aren't on F1 Twitter like us, let me define it for you. ADUO, or ADUO, stands for Additional Development and Upgrade Opportunities. Basically, if a power unit manufacturer is at least 2%, but less than 4% they basically have a deficit to the top performing power unit, they are allowed to upgrade their engine 2 times in a year. So the way they conduct this is a ICE, a performance index. They have an index for all the power that comes through the power units. And they found that Mercedes, of course, are top of the class. That's not shocking to anybody. But surprisingly, Red Bull were within 2% of that power output. But that means that everybody else, Ferrari, Honda, and Audi, have the chance to now close the power gap to Mercedes and Red Bull over the course of the next 365 days, basically. Mercedes are likely going to see their performance gap close a little bit. They can't continue to upgrade their engines. Everybody else gets the opportunity to. But again, why did I mention Red Bull? Apparently, Red Bull's engine is actually, again, really strong, but they can't be a part of this, even with a midfield car, because their chassis and their aero have been really, really, really rough.
Makes Ford look bad.
Huh?
Makes Ford look bad.
I mean, it doesn't make Ford look bad. If anything, it makes them look great. But it makes Red Bull's chassis and aero department really rough.
Well, no, I mean,
you've delivered a car. You've delivered at least an engine that can compete with the big boys. That can compete at the front of the field. That is more powerful than the team that is rounding out the podiums in Ferrari. And you're not even close.
Well, that's my point. If you're not listening to the Lapped podcast, which unfortunately there are a lot of people out there that don't, then they don't know that. They just think, oh, Ford made a crap engine for Red Bull to race in. They don't know that we know that Ford did a good job. So congrats, Ford. You did a good job.
Yeah. I mean, Red Bull and Ford,
you dropped the ball.
That partnership already has done really good things. It was surprisingly good things according to the articles and the information that's been coming out. But when can they bring these upgrades is another question. It doesn't just happen at random. The regulations do have outlines that teams can bring their upgraded engines once every 6 races. So in a 6-race interval, this would have been the Miami Grand Prix, but Bahrain and Saudi Arabia got canceled. That would technically mean Monaco in June, if I'm not mistaken. So the added bonus of time for the field to catch up is potentially there, but the FIA have reportedly proposed moving the timeline back so the ADUO upgrades, can be used around the Miami Grand Prix, maybe going into Canada. So we're not entirely sure when we might see some potentially new Ferrari engines that would affect Haas as well as Cadillac, by the way, or Aston Martin getting a new engine, or Audi and their team getting a new engine, but they are within the threshold to do so. Just some interesting information for the listeners. And if things do change over the next year, let's say Ferrari, they understand exactly what they're deficient in, and they've been prodding the FIA to see every little thing that they can find in performance that maybe Mercedes has exploited or found a way to do, then maybe Ferrari are fighting back at the front. Who knows? Hey, who knows? There's a lot that can happen over the course of a season. And if you're a Ferrari fan, I wonder, TLPs, do you think it's possible that Ferrari by the end of this season could be competing with Mercedes, maybe even McLaren in that mix by the end of the season if Ferrari can actually nail an upgrade? Kevin Walker, your thoughts?
It closes the gap a little bit. It makes me excited from that perspective, but I also don't want this sport to become uniform where, hey, this team's doing really good and we need to even out the playing field for everybody else. The whole point is not for everybody to finish across the finish line at the same time. And I appreciate the FIA and I appreciate Formula One trying to close that gap to make racing more interesting and more fun. I just don't want everything to fall uniform. And I'm not saying that that's going to allow this ADUO system is going to allow that to happen. But that's the only thing that I would be a little bit concerned about.
Interesting. But no, I mean, this is something that's existed for a while, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this is only going to be a net positive for the racing perspective. But we'll see how it develops. Obviously, Ferrari still have to do the actual job of doing the engineering and putting this all together. But maybe I'm optimistic. I mean, look, as a Mercedes fan, of course, I want to see Mercedes win and do really, really well. But F1 fans across the board want to see close racing and fights at the front. So if this means that the actual spectacle and the fights at the front continue and are really interesting and a really good time, then by all means, I'm excited to see what Ferrari most notably can do, considering they must have done an amazing job with their aero design, because they are that close to Mercedes, at least on qualifying pace already. So we'll see where things go.